There are some people that are very, very unhappy with Sydney Sweeney and the fact that, her movie that came out about the lesbian boxer didn't do great. And there's a lot of people that are lashing out and blaming her for this and saying she is the reason that this movie did so poorly. She ruined it. And ironically, some of the people that are criticizing it for being a box office flop are one of the biggest flop actors that we've ever seen in fucking history. But obviously, Jay, we've talked about this a lot over the last week or 2 weeks. The Sydney Sweeney controversy over the American Eagle jeans ad, which then spun into the interview where she refused to bend the knee, refused to apologize for something she had nothing to apologize for, and refused to go with the narrative that the media members and these assassins in the press were trying to pin her on about the gene having anything to do with white supremacy or white genetic superiority or any of that bullshit. Well, in the aftermath of that, her movie flopped. Now, I'm just going to say it. I'll say it again. This movie, I don't think ever had any interest in it. Christy Martin, a female boxer who was abused by a man who I think was her husband at the time. Then she realized that she's actually gay and some story of survival. I'm sure that a lot of people might find it very compelling and stuff. I never gave a fuck about it. And I don't think most of Sydney Sweeney's audience who typically follows her, I don't know if they would really care about it either. However, this movie did flop at the box office, and we went over the way Sydney Sweeney reacted to it and said, hey, might not have done the numbers, but we're really proud of it. I thought it was really important. We put it out there, and I hope that anybody that got a chance to see it really took something out from it. Probably the way you should respond to financial failures and box office flops instead of blaming the fucking audience. But Jay, somebody's not very happy.
Really?
Do you remember Ruby Rose, Jay?
Wasn't she part of the Batman franchise or something like that?
Well, I think you're thinking about Batwoman.
There she is. I almost
Ruby
said an
Rose.
OnlyFans girl, but I guess
No, not that Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
Ruby Rose, Batwoman, who got fired from Batwoman and accused a bunch of people of a bunch of shit, couldn't back it up, got threatened to be sued basically for saying all these things, and then fled the fucking country. That Ruby Rose. The Ruby Rose who was so fucking miserable and stupid. Like, this character was awful. This show was awful. Then she got replaced by a black bitch, right? They just swapped them out, made a new fucking character, threw her in there. You're out, Ruby. Well, Ruby Rose is very upset about this film flopping, and she's very upset that Sydney Sweeney was part of it. Ruby Rose blames CRETIN Sydney Sweeney for Christy flopping at the box office. You ruined the film. Christy Martin deserved better, wrote Rose, who claims she was originally attached to star in the biopic. Now, interesting from Entertainment Weekly, said Rose, who claimed she was originally attached to star in the biopic. Now, one of the things you might not know about Ruby Rose, Jay, is that she identifies as like non-binary, non-gender conforming, whatever the fuck, actually goes by they, them pronouns, which is why Hollywood Reporter says Ruby Rose says they were fired from Batwoman. Entertainment Weekly not respecting those pronouns. And I mean, I'm not going to either. Ruby Rose is a she, at least as far as we know. But thought that was interesting. This is the post from Ruby Rose. The original Christy Martin script was incredible, life-changing. I was attached to play Cherry. Everyone had experience with the core material. Most of us were actually gay. It's part of why I stayed in acting. Losing roles happens all the time. For her PR to talk about it flopping and saying Sydney Sweeney did it for the people. None of the people want to see someone who hates them parading around pretending to be us. You're a cretin and you ruined the film. Period. Christy deserved better.
What the freak? She says she hates gay people? Sydney Sweeney goes to that LGBTQ fundraiser thing all the time. Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, it's almost like the same picture that we use in a lot of these thumbnails is actually taken at GLAAD. I think there's even some people that are Sydney Sweeney fans that might not know that. But yes, the idea that Sydney Sweeney hates gay people or something, I just don't think that there's any evidence to support that other than what Ruby Rose is claiming. And the other thing about Christy Martin deserved better and blah, blah, blah. I mean, the interesting part about that is that Christy Martin is out there defending Sydney Sweeney through all of this. The real Christy Martin.
Scroll down just a little bit. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There you
I just
go.
wanted to see. I just wanted to check
The
for-
real, I've actually been getting like fucking limited and stuff in any YouTube video.
Yeah, no, don't leave it up. I just was curious. Sorry.
I get the chat's horny. They'll be okay.
It
The
just
real
got-
Christy Martin defends Sydney Sweeney amid attacks after the movie. I've always been a fighter. My life reflected that in every way, and now I fight for others. The past few days, I've seen some people attack my friend Sydney Sweeney. Sid not only worked her ass off for this film, she worked her ass off for me, for my story, for so many others suffering in silence. So I want to be clear about who Sid is. She's my friend and ally. So it's weird that Ruby Rose, all these like claims she has just falling apart. And I guess it's not surprising. Ruby Rose, who looks like this now, by the way, it's not surprised that she's unhinged and completely off base when it comes to all these things. She is an insane person. Frankly, anyone that goes by they, them pronouns, that's kind of a dead giveaway. But since she's so critical of Sydney Sweeney's box office performance, Jay, I figured let's see how Ruby Rose stacks up over the past couple years. Shall we?
Shall.
This is the past 5 years for Ruby Rose.
Medic.
Dirty Angels in the role of Medic. Made $31,000.
Good job.
Not million, thousand. The Collective, $6,883.
I did better selling my kid's book.
Stowaway, $18,000. Taurus, where she plays Bub, $5,000.
Parker.
One Up, which was released on Amazon, so I don't think that had a theatrical release. SAS Red Notice, $150,000. Vanquish, $62,000. Cranston Academy, something, actually made $1.2 million. This is who is criticizing Sydney Sweeney for a poor box office performance, by the way.
First of all, if Ruby Rose was in this film, it probably would have done worse. If my honest opinion, I think it would have done worse. I think it would have just disappeared. Like, at least it got some kind of attention under Sydney Sweeney that now, like, maybe people might watch it when it comes out on streaming. I'm not sure, but, you know, I don't think this movie, I don't know who could have starred in this film that would have made this movie be successful. You know, I don't even think Gina Carano could save this film. I just don't think. It's like you said, it wasn't anything that anybody really wanted to see. But it's going to be out there. Maybe it'll become a cult classic, you know? Who knows?
Maybe that's the case. But Ruby Rose certainly not happy about Sydney Sweeney. And it's funny, dude. If Sydney Sweeney came out and used that type of language and like called Ruby Rose a cretin or whatever, there'd probably be like a ton of defense. I can't believe you called a marginalized person that and blah, 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 right? This peak victim bullshit from these losers, these weirdos, these freaks, these truly mentally unstable individuals. But there's Ruby Rose. You know, Ruby, it's one of the things that made me want to stay in acting. Maybe this is giving you a hint that you should fucking leave. Just to guess, Bub.
Yeah.
Just to guess, Medic.
Medic.
Just to guess, fucking Batwoman. Maybe nobody fucking wants you here either. Just to guess.
Well, I think she knew if she attacked Sydney Sweeney, she might make the headlines one last time in her career. So she's like, let's just go for it.
Well, I'll give her a headline. I'll give her a headline, get a bunch of views off it. Thank you, Ruby Rose. You know, she's had like small supporting roles in successful movies before. John Wick 2. And her character is probably the best role for Ruby Rose. Her character didn't say anything. She was mute. And it's so funny because
mute.
There's like a whole story about that. Like she uses ASL to communicate. There's like a whole story about that where they're like, you know, it wasn't really supposed to be like that. It was kind of a last minute decision to make this character and that we thought it was cool. Maybe it's because Ruby Rose is such a fucking terrible actress. You realize that this is not going to work. And that's why it happened. In all likelihood, that's the reality.
She probably got hired back in those days when woke was at its peak and they, you know, they needed someone to check the boxes. Yeah, if even major news media outlets are decided that, yeah, the pronoun thing's a little played out, we're not going to do that anymore.
Maybe they're going to issue a big apology and correction.
Time
that could happen.